Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Faker, the evil clone of He-Man. So, in the He-Man lore, Skeletor creates Faker to trick the people of Eternia into believing that He-Man is bad. Essential. That's the down and dirty of it. There's other versions. Basically, there's a robot version of He-Man that's just referred to as Robot He-Man that Man-at-Arms creates. Sometimes people get those mixed up. But Faker himself, depending on which story you're going by, if you're going by the animated show, which I believe he only had one appearance, but he wasn't blue-skinned. He looked exactly like He-Man, which is more of what the Revelation version kind of went with. There's also a version where he's created using sorcery, magic. But either way, he is the clone of He-Man. He is a robot. He typically has the little sticker on his chest. This being the original 1980s version. Take this off. He typically comes with a sticker on his chest, and we'll see more about that in a minute. But with this guy, he is old, and his sticker fell off a long time ago. He has the regular arm rotation, and you can move his head. He's got the spring back action. This guy does have some loose legs. I can get him to stand occasionally, but he's not too great. He's a little wobbly. But as you can see, the coloring wise, he basically has most of Skeletor's colors with the purple trunks. He has He-Man's boots, but they are painted purple. He's got the He-Man face sculpt along with the blue skin and the red hair. Overall, I'm glad I do have a original Faker in my collection. He was always one of my favorites. Just because he was mysterious, and because we didn't really get this version in the animated show, I like that. I like the idea of the evil He-Man. Even if ultimately it was just a ploy by Mattel to sell us a repaint, which is what that Wondar was, I believe. So, that's our 80s. Let's go ahead and bring in our more modern Origins version of Faker, which is a great recreation of the vintage. You've got all the same stylings and cues and colors, and in addition, we do get painted gauntlets, which is nice. And of course, we get all that articulation that comes with the Origins line, and the ability to snap them apart, swap out parts, create our own customs, which is a cool thing about the Origins line. So let's go ahead and pop off his chest armor, and we'll see that sticker that they recreated for the Origins figure. These things sometimes hang a little bit. There we go. So our vintage Faker would have had a sticker, basically looked almost exactly like that. It would have been on his chest. But like I said, these guys tend to lose that sticker over time. I could get a repro. You can find them online fairly easily. But I just haven't done it for this guy. I haven't really needed to do it, because I prefer to display him with the chest armor on anyway. He's fine the way he is. I'm not worried about that. I'm not one of those guys who has to have everything mint and perfect and have every little accessory. I'm just glad to have one of them represented on my shelf. Yeah, so if you're new to the Origins line, these joints will get stuck sometimes, so you got to be careful when you're moving those. So yeah, so it's a good recreation of Faker. The hair is a little brighter. The blue is a little brighter. Even the purple is a little brighter. But it's worth it. It's worth it. It's a good figure. It's a very good update So if you're one of those who does not have the vintage Faker in your collection, this is a great replacement for it, or a great stand-in for it in your set. These guys look really good with the vintage vehicles. Now we were able to get a few of the vehicles recreated for the modern line. You know, Wind Raider and the Land Shark, which I do have, which is fun. And let's see, there's some other ones. I think we have the Roton coming. But yeah, I love this guy. This is probably one of my favorites from the Origins line. Really glad to have him. So, as you're seeing behind these guys, we have the Masterverse Faker, which is based on the Netflix Masters Universe Revelations series. So let's get a closer look at him. So he comes with a lot of accessories. You got the sword. You have another set of hands. You've got two separate heads. You've got the additional armor. You've got the shield. So essentially, you've got a lot of options on how you want to display him. Whether you want him to look more like the vintage Faker minus the blue skin, or you want him to look more like a Terminator with that robot skull. You've got a lot of options. By default, he's more damaged. He has the skin peeled back, revealing the shiny skeleton underneath. It looks really neat. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to get him out of the package. So let's change our camera here real quick. So the box themselves are fairly boring. There's not a whole lot to them, but let's see if we can get this opened up. Alright, so there's a couple pieces of tape across the top of the box, which I apologize if you can't see, but basically cut that tape. Alright, so let's take a look at the packaging here. Nice. And looks like he's going to be in the package just like our Masterverse He-Man was. There's no additional like zip ties or rubber bands or anything, like twist ties. Alright. So essentially it appears to be the same figure as the He-Man. As far as the size and scope of the figure, it's just you have these additional pieces, and that is sculpted on. That's not just a paint application. You can actually tell the difference in the texture. Now, I don't like the way this stands right out of the box. That leg just feels off. So maybe some adjusting. I'll get him where I want him. Let's go ahead and get a measurement. And he is over 6.5 inches. He's actually pretty close to the 7-inch mark. So in our package, we got our armor. We've got our standard He-Man head. We have our robot head. We have our shield, which is the exact same shield that's in the He-Man set. We have the power sword, which has the orange on it. And then we also have a couple of extra hands, which I'm not going to take them out of the package. For this, I wanted to take a look at what he looks like with the orange Skeletor armor. So we're going to try to make him look as close to the original as we possibly can with the way this one's made. So you do have to take the head off in order to change the body armor or chest armor. tight. So we saw what it looked like with the battle torn face. Let's go ahead and put the regular one on, which is essentially the Masterverse He-Man. Yeah, it looks okay. Not my favorite. I want to see the robot head. And I will say these heads really tight to push on. For me, this figure is more of a display piece. It is a really awkward figure to try to pose. The arms feel weird. The legs are really weird. And even the way this is standing, it looks like he has no neck. So this is, for me, this is just part of the issue with the Masterverse figures. They're not my favorite. So we'll go ahead and put the damaged head back on. We'll let him stand there for a minute. Set all his accessories over here to the side. Let's bring in our vintage and our Origins figure. And then let's bring in a special guest. We have our Masters of the WWE Faker John Cena. Can you see him? Yeah, so this guy's it's so silly. I'm not sure what they were really trying to do. He's blue, but he's also translucent. And other than that, and calling him Faker John Cena, there's really no other things that call back to the character of Faker. I guess it was just a way for them to work the Faker character into the WWE Universe line. But it's still fun. It makes me laugh. And I guess the translucent and can't see me, that's the gimmick they were going with for this figure. And you can remove all his accessories as well. Armband, he's got the little like brass knuckle type thing. He's got the little chain around his neck. So there was another John Cena figure in the line that looked like this, but he had the regular skin color. So it's a Faker John Cena. So it's a Faker of John Cena. So it's silly. But I had it and I thought, you know what? I should add him in. Go ahead and have him standing side by side with the other versions of Faker. But that's all I'm going to do today. I just wanted to give you guys a little run through on these guys. I hope to see more versions of Faker because I think it's just a great character, great potential. As a fan of Superman growing up, Superman had Bizarro, so it only made sense for He-Man to have Faker. All right, guys, have a great day. I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks.